Hi, my name is Tammy Eisenreich, and I'm a parent partner for the Lucas County Board of Developmental Disabilities. And I am thrilled today to have Amanda Berardi, I had Charney in
Yep.
my head forever,
Yes, that's
from
okay.
Small Steps in Speech with us. So I'd like to introduce her. Hello.
Hello, thank you for this opportunity just to share a piece of our organization with you all.
So, like I said, I'll do the video little clip at the end. We'll end it up with that. So,
Great.
can you, I guess for those that don't know, can you tell us a little bit about your history and what drew you into wanting to help families with children with special needs?
Sure. So I am a speech and language pathologist. I absolutely love my career, and I do work with children from birth up until high school age. So going back to the history of the organization, it was founded in 2009 from a very bittersweet story. I was to be married to a man named Mark Small, and Mark enlisted in the United States Army after the tragedies of 9/11. We were together for the years while he was stationed in Fort Bragg, and he went on his first deployment to Afghanistan in 2008. The beginning of 2009, I'm sorry. He was there just for 3 short weeks when we found out the tragic news of his passing in Afghanistan. So the whole history behind everything is really to keep his name and his legacy alive. So like I said, his name was Mark Small. And when we were to get married, he actually came up with the name Small Steps in Speech to symbolize my soon-to-be last name and also my profession. So when I had children, I could work from home, I could do my own hours, and he came up with this great name for my own practice. However, when the tragic news came of his passing, we thought, what could we do in lieu of flowers, in lieu of different things? And that's when I thought, let's just raise money to give to children, and I'll give it to the ASHA, which is the American Speech and Hearing Association for Children with Communication Disorders. And that was our initial intent. And jumping forward all of these years, we established our own nonprofit. We have given almost $2 million to children throughout the country with any type of speech and language disorder. So with that being said, we give grants to children there's an application online. So you could fill out the application. You can go over it with your speech and language pathologist. If a child's not in speech therapy yet, you can still fill out that application if you need any type of services, whether it's hearing aids. We've given some kids who have severe stuttering, and any parent or any speech therapist who knows of a child who stutters, they're very unique and their cognition is great, but they just don't always relate to peers. People make fun of them. And they can't always relate, even in speech therapy in the schools or the private settings. It's a very small, unique diversity. So we have given several students a whole summer worth of stuttering camps. We have given some children who have severe disabilities, whether it be CP, whether it be autism, communication devices to help with their communication. We've paid for some children to pay for a whole year of speech therapy. So what makes our organization unique is we are a board of all volunteers. So everybody else works. I still work, as a speech pathologist. Our board, everybody works. We are all volunteers. So every dollar that gets donated to our organization goes directly to help pay for student speech therapy. And some of these nonprofits, they have a head cost and different things like that. I'm the founder, our president. Nobody takes a dollar from this organization. We actually give money into our own organization when we do our fundraising. So many people say, well, how do you get your own funding? And it really is through our own work. We've had golf tournaments. We have a virtual 5K coming up in August that I urge everybody to look at. You could do the 5K anywhere in the country from your home. If you want to get a group of neighbors together, you could do that. And all of that money that gets donated to us goes to help these students. We've also been trying to do a lot of grant writing which, as you know, grant writing is the way to go to try to get a large sum to give to a lot of these students. We are very proud to say that we have partnered with the Prompt Institute, and they have given us a large grant. So those students who apply who need specific prompt therapy, we're able to give prompt therapy from a prompt therapist to pay for that student's therapy as well. Our application, like I said, it's online. So a parent can apply. We really urge the speech therapists to apply and the professionals, because you are the ones who know the child who was making gains and then they had to stop because insurance might have dropped them. This therapist and the professionals might know, okay, the parents are so motivated, but they don't have the resources. They're taking out a second mortgage to pay for their students, their child's speech therapy. I mean, we hear story upon story over in today's age, why a student is not getting speech therapy. And it's heartbreaking. Or maybe insurance might say, I'll pay for 12 sessions. Well, we all know as parents and as professionals, well, what is 12 sessions going to give? They might just be starting to make progress, and then they have to stop because insurance isn't covering the cost. That's where Small Steps comes and picks up and pays the price for speech therapy. Like I said, augmentative communication. We've even paid for some children to go on a horse to do hippotherapy. That is motivating. And speech therapy doing drill cards might not have worked. Well, let's think of something else outside of the box. And once they're on the horse, they're outside, they're in a natural environment, and they're thinking, oh my gosh, go, stop, and all of these different things with the licensed speech therapy, a therapist. So we do have some guidelines. So it has to be a licensed speech and language pathologist who is providing the services. We do need to see the financials of the family to make sure, along with the other applicants, who is most deserving. And everybody is probably deserving of a grant. However, we're receiving hundreds of applications. We give out grants 4 times a year. So for your audience, if you're thinking, okay, is it only once a year? It's 4 times a year we give out a grant. Our average grant is about $1,500. And we look at so many different instances, whether the child is getting it in the school, where they fell on their assessments, are they motivated, how long have they been in therapy? So we have a whole panel of volunteers who reads every single application. They get together, they figure out, okay, who are we going to give it to this quarter? Maybe this person might reapply in another 2 years to see. So if you don't receive a grant the first time, you can always apply another time in the future for a grant.
Now, what if they were to get funding? Do you have a
so there's a legal contract? Great question. So what we do is we do not give the funding to the child and the parent. What we do is we give the funding to the speech therapist and to their practice or the hospital who's doing the speech therapy. So say we gave Johnny $2,000 to receive weekly speech therapist. We come up with a contract. The parent has to sign the contract. The speech therapist has to sign the contract saying Johnny is going to be receiving weekly speech therapy. If Johnny fails to show up for 3 consecutive speech therapy appointments without notification, without some type of documentation, we will void the contract, because there's another child and family who could benefit from that, who is going to be consistent with their therapy. And this is important. I mean, we're declining some people who really need it. And if somebody is not going to take that seriously, that grant, then we will void that. So there is a legal contract that has to be signed between the parent, Small Steps in Speech, and also the providing therapist.
What if they were to change therapists during the process of the grant? Like, let's say you did it for a year, and maternity leave is a big thing that we seem to have here in Toledo right now. A lot of the therapists, I think COVID, I don't know, but so they maybe left, and so then a family went somewhere else for continuing speech services, but not at the same
So then
time.
we would have to review that as a board to find out, is it going to be a new speech therapist? Where was the carryover? So that would be a board decision to figure out, and case by case situation.
I just didn't know if maybe you would hold on to that pot of money for 3-4 months until the speech path came back, maybe? Would that be an option?
It's a
Or-
varying case. We would probably,
Okay.
again, that would be a board decision that we would look at. We would hope that the child would continue services with another speech therapist if somebody was to jump in, and the one who went out on leave would be able to keep up and give the other therapist the soap notes and where they were.
So that line of communication is still there for you with both the provider and the family through the duration of the
Yes.
grant?
And
Okay.
also, when we give a grant to a family, the therapist also has to provide weekly notes so that we are able to see what is being targeted, that the family is taking this and the therapist is taking this grant serious, and that there is improvement noted.
So you would still fund, let's say someone had insurance where they say the 12 sessions, you can have partial insurance coverage.
Oh,
for-
absolutely. We pay for some parents who can't afford the copay. $40 a copay is so much too much for some parents. So we've paid for copays. We've paid for, like I said, a variety of instances for these families.
What about a back balance? I have a family that thought their insurance was going to cover it. It ends up now the insurance is coming back as a denial. The family had been going regularly for 3 months. And so now they have this outstanding balance.
We do not.
Okay. One of the
No,
things I had to
it's
do is,
moving forward. So our contract says it will state in this date in the future, and it would end in this date. So we do not do back pay.
okay. I encourage them to talk to the provider about out-of-pocket discount or whatever, once they realize that insurance wasn't going to be covering it, to help bring that cost down. So,
Okay.
you said you're 4 times a year now, which is great because you guys had gone down to twice during 2020,
We did
right?
go down to twice. Wow, look at you. We did. That was so hard, but we had no funding coming in. It was a crisis for our country in so many different parameters. So we just didn't have the funding to help. So we did go down to twice, but we are giving out grants quarterly again.
Wonderful. And the income cap, have you always had a cap? I thought I saw the 100,000 on there this time, or
You mean for each individual family?
yes. Do you have?
So our average grant is about $1,500. We cannot grant a $5,000 grant because we're so small ourselves, and we try to divvy it out across many families. So if we, it would be too much for our organization. If I'm hoping that, this video conference might be able to reach out to somebody who might say, you know what, let's give a grant to Small Steps in Speech so that we could give more money to some of these children who are well deserving. We in our hands do not have that capability to grant somebody a $5,000, $10,000 grant at this time. In our future, we would love to say that we would love to be able to do that, but and it's not necessarily a cap at $1,500. It's our average grant, I should say.
I meant income cap on your applicants.
Oh, yes. That's something that we have been looking at. We've changed within our bylaws a few years ago.
Okay. You fund.
And even I understand what everybody's saying, because even, $150,000, $200,000 is not a lot of money for a family of a family of 5. They're still struggling, but we're just trying to figure out our best options at this time.
Understand. We mentioned at the beginning, I had a question about social skills groups, like they would be facilitated by a speech pathologist. We find in the summer, a lot of times they'll do field trips like out in the community, because a lot of kids, their language will fall away when it's, when you're doing one-on-one across the table, it's fine, but you get them out at a putt-putt course maybe where they have to ask.
Functional.
Is that
I
something?
love the functional. That is absolutely something that we would do. Again, I just urge whoever is applying for a grant to sit down with the parent, with a professional, to really make your case stand out. We have a lot of parents who will upload a video. Have maybe the child, if the child is able to communicate, maybe the child can make a video and say, I would love a grant to do social skills over the summer to help with X, Y, and Z. Those are the things that enable us to be able to look at who we're actually giving the grant to. We are all based in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, but yet we give out grants through all 50 states. So we can't see who in Ohio we're giving a grant to, but if you send us a video, we love the testimonials, we love the videos. And even when somebody is sending an application, they're saying my child is severely unintelligible, or my child is having tantrums because socially they can't communicate with somebody. If you show us a video of that, and it's all confidential, it stays within our organization and our board and our volunteers, it just goes to show us, wow, he really is unintelligible and he's about 8 years old and he's not getting speech therapy, or he's only getting it once a week in school. Let's give this child a grant. So social skills, absolutely. I think that especially some of those older children who are out of the same routine over weekly speech therapy, the best part of therapy is, can they look at a grocery list? Can they follow the directions? Do they understand to do the frozen section last versus the health and beauty section, in their
my
shopping
husband
cart?
has a hard time with that.
Yeah. So absolutely, we would give social skills groups. Any field within speech and language we look at.
Any exclusions?
So we do not give iPads to children. We give the application. We might give the application if insurance isn't covering it. I'm sure there's other exclusions there that we do not give therapy to somebody who might be a CFY, meaning that they're in the clinical fellowship year as a speech therapist. We do not give a grant to, if it's a therapist who is not licensed through the American Speech and Hearing Association. So that's an exclusion. If you're a student, if you are a speech and language assistant, we do not give the grant. It has to be a licensed speech therapist through ASHA.
Okay. I think that's all the questions I have. Does anybody that's on the Zoom session have any questions for Amanda?
It's really, just obviously I founded this organization, and I would love for you to share the video with everybody, but it's just a beautiful background and a beautiful story to share over how much we have done in these past years over something that happened in the past. So it's just a great background story that I would urge everybody to look at.
I'm going to share that now.
Great.
We'll see. Can you see my screen?
I cannot. I still see you.
Still see me. Let's see. Share screen. There we go. How's that?
Oh, there we go.
Hi, my name is Amanda Charney, and I am the founder and executive director of the nonprofit organization Small Steps in Speech. Our mission is to provide financial assistance to children throughout our country to pay for any type of speech and language disorder that may be placing a financial burden on the child's family. Small Steps in Speech may be able to provide financial assistance for a child for their speech therapy, supplemental therapy camps, and also for various augmentative communication devices to assist the child's voice communication. Small Steps in Speech has helped hundreds of children, but there are thousands of more children that need our help to find their voice. This is where we need you. You are the engine that drives our mission. Your time, funding, and support is desperately needed to keep up with the amount of applications that we're receiving. We are trying to help the child and their family one small step at a time. Please join us.
So I think that kind of sums it all up. It talks about Mark and the inspiration behind the organization. So you will see a lot of patriotic background, because we want to make sure that we are still serving him and remembering him. Our other exclusions is that we only give grants within the United States. We do not give grants outside of the country. And we receive so many emails saying, you know, my child has a cleft palate, or my child has this type of disorder. Can you help us? We do not. It's within the United States.
Okay. I was going to go to the application, and I see that you help therapy providers too.
So that is where a speech therapist might be able to fill out the application with the parent. We don't necessarily grant. We grant organization. The therapist would be able to help guide the parent along with that application process.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So that's for a parent who might be filling it out, or if a therapy provider would be filling out the application.
Okay, I was thinking of like apps. I know a lot of therapy centers don't have a budget for apps when they go to trialing different options with a child. So that's where my mind went when I saw the therapy provider on there. So, but okay, well, the application is pretty easy. And is it all electronic now, or do they still print off and mail?
You could do either.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So it's all like just click on. So it's probably easier to do on a computer than it would be your iPhone. I know those are sometimes difficult, especially with uploading.
Yeah, and we still get a lot of yes, and the mailing in the application. We're able to look at a lot of the readers. Actually, our committees like to hold it and look at, and then they make piles over. This pile is a yes, this pile is a no. But printing out, just filling out, and then our organization can print them out and then can submit to everybody to look at.
Okay, I was looking to see the upload portion, like if they supporting docs that they would. I see the checklist. Did I miss it? Where it asks for you to upload like your speech evaluation, or would that just be something you would email in separately?
You would have to email in separately and scan it in.
Got it. Okay. It looks, you were very straightforward. I guess I feel like we talked about how parents feel like they hear no, they feel like there has to be a catch.
So many parents are hearing no, and that's where, you know, we go to the ASHA convention, and I'm almost wishing that we can go to a parent convention, because when we reach out to the therapists, we're educating the therapist, but what we really need to do is educate the parents, for the parents to know that we're out there. And how are they going to know that? We need to really reach out to the parents who have a new child with a new speech disorder, who don't know where to begin and where to start. That's where we really need to do a better job within our own housing, to try to reach out to some of these families, to let them know that we're here, we exist, and we're here to help you.
Yeah. Well, word of mouth is definitely, I think with social media, parents sharing the resources that they had, you know, on their journey is definitely, it's a different place than it was. You know,
and
even
like you said, there's so many Facebook social groups or social media groups. So if there is a mom's group for this, you know, I would hope that maybe we could share this and say, look into this organization, they could help you.
Yeah. Well, and I think financial need was something that wasn't talked about a lot, you know, special needs, financial need, those, you know, were taboo topics. And now I think we're definitely communicating that more. So wonderful. Well, good luck with your event.
Yes, again, everybody look at our virtual 5K run. We have a lot of events throughout, or if somebody wants to pioneer their own some type of fundraising event, we're always looking at that. Some people work at a public school, and they had Jeans Day, where it was just $5 and everybody donated $5 for jeans. And then at the end, they gave us a $2,500 grant or a $2,500 check for public schools who gave $5. Well, then we just gave 2 children a grant. Or some people might have had a bake sale. Some kids have had lemonade stands outside. I mean, there's a variety of different things where the money comes right to our organization. So not only can you apply, but if there's any unique funding opportunities for us, like I said, every dollar goes directly to help these students. We have no overhead costs.
That's wonderful. I was looking for the walk. Is this the?
Yep.
Did they go to
So
the
it's
right one?
actually under the On Your Mark 5K run and walk. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Any questions before we let Amanda go? Okay, well, once again, thank you so much.
First, absolutely. I hope, even if it's just one person who gets to know Mark's name, and even if it's just one person who gets to know our organization, I think this was a success.
Oh, thank you again. And next month on July 26th, we will be having the Aubrey Rose Foundation with us. So we hope you'll be able to join us again. Thank you.